Here, doctors are saying that people are dying because of sudden cardiac arrest. It's all because of long COVID. It might be the effect of COVID.
No, so listen, if you being a good scientist, every possibility has to be considered, Ashutosh. But I looked at this data quite clearly, certainly mild COVID, okay? So if we start with mild COVID, most of the analyses have shown there is no increased association with heart problems at all. In fact, one recent publication in BMJ Heart actually showed the opposite. People who are not hospitalized with COVID had a lower risk of a heart attack. Let me repeat that. People who are not hospitalized with COVID had a lower risk of heart attack. Now, that is unusual, and it may be what we call a random finding. But the point is, mild COVID is not associated with any significant increase in heart attacks. Now, long COVID, separately to that, hasn't been shown to be more prevalent than any other post-viral fatigue syndrome that has existed for, decades. Okay. And I do have a patient with long COVID, but this is a patient that was hospitalized initially. And it does exist. I'm not denying its existence. And for those people with it, it can be very debilitating. But there isn't any significant increased risk that we see. But we do have data, which is very strong. Certainly when I look at the Pfizer vaccine data, and of course the AstraZeneca original data when the vaccine was suspended, where you show very clear links with very, very strong evidence and good quality data with the Pfizer vaccine and heart attacks, myocarditis, sudden cardiac death, for example. So any of these claims are either a mistake or they are being fueled by the very companies that don't want us to know the full truth about the safety of their vaccines. And I don't say this as some kind of conspiracy theorist or trying to suggest something that it doesn't have a precedent. A lot of my work originally was, when I looked at the sugar industry, was looking at the tactics of big corporations. And, it was 50 years between when the first links between smoking and lung cancer were published before we had effective regulation. And everybody really knew the harms of smoking in relation to not just lung cancer, but heart attacks. And one of the things that one of the tactics of the industry, the tobacco industry, was actually influencing and buying the loyalty of influential scientists who would publish articles, even in medical journals, saying that smoking wasn't the cause of heart attacks. It was stress. People who are stressed smoke, and it's just a surrogate. It's actually the stress that's causing the heart attacks, not the smoking. So these sorts of tactics are well known, Ashutosh. This is what they do. Corporations, to protect their interests, they deny any links with harm, they confuse the public, they plant doubt, and they buy the loyalty of scientists and powerful political allies as well.
Johan will start asking you a few questions, but before that, I'm having few questions more for you. Doctor, here few pharmaceutical companies are claiming that their product is 100% safe. And our warrior, Johan, is fighting case against one of the pharmaceutical company like Qvive, a Serum Institute. What is the response in England? How the adverse event reporting status? What is the status of adverse event reporting in England? Because we are not having a proper adverse event reporting system at all. Johan is giving some document to quote that how much people died.
I can tell you, Ashutosh, I can tell you with COVID Shield, or specifically AstraZeneca, we had 800,000 adverse events reported on the yellow card scheme after 9.7 million doses. Now, I can't break down for you right now how many of those were what we call serious adverse events, but certainly it was enough for us to stop using AstraZeneca. And of the serious adverse events, normally, they thought to be for the reporting scheme, thought to only represent 10% of the true value, because many people won't realize and won't report that they are having an adverse effect from any drug. So it's clearly quite considerable. And again, I think the key thing here is we need to find out and investigate. Did the Indian medical authorities know that European countries and the UK had in fact stopped using those AstraZeneca vaccines because of the serious adverse event rate being really high? When did they, if they did know, when did they know about it? And if they did know about it, why did they not suspend the rollout of Covishield in India immediately? These are really important questions we need to get to the bottom of.